Hi, folks. Well, I got me Commodore hat on, says I. That could only mean that when I pretend to be Commodore Tony, it's Sea Shepherd time. A little background before we continue on. There's a group of islands in Northern Europe called the Faroe Islands, and they get a good deal of their subsistence from the sea, some of which happens to be whales. Now, they do not actively go out and pursue these whales in whaling vessels. What happens is that the whales are nice enough to cooperate. They bring themselves close to shore so they can be harvested through dinghies or in wading boots or whatever, and then dragged onto the beach and cut up for their meat. And that recently took place, that a bunch of these cooperative whales were being harvested on the beach. Well, as the people of the Faroe Islands were harvesting this meat, one of them noticed walking by was a gentleman who we popularly know as Cabin Boy. Yeah! Cabin Boy of Sea Shepherd fame was there, but he didn't look like that. This is what he looked like. Let's compare before and after. Yay, that's Peter, says he. Cabin Boy, says I. So the people noticed him and they went after him, and he hightailed it out of there, barely escaping getting whooped upon by the good folks. But here's the point. How did they recognize him? Is there that much disdain? Is there that much dislike towards this organization that they know what they look like even when they're traveling incognito? That's fantastic. Let me explain to you about the people of the Faroe Islands. Sea Shepherd was there about 20 years ago, and ever since then, they've been looking for Sea Shepherd to return so they could tear them limb from limb. No, not with clubs, pitchforks, torches, guns, or knives. With their bare hands, they just want to get a hold of this Sea Shepherd crowd. That's how much they have a dislike, a disdain for these girly men of the seven seas. Yet these Sea Shepherd types insist upon engaging in what they call an undercover operation. An undercover operation was more like a rescue operation for himself to get off those islands with his life intact. Peter escapes the area, and he's trying to get off the island, and the police stop him to question him. And they ask him if he was Peter Hammerstedt, whatever his last name is. And he says, "Who, me? My name is Fredrik. Let me see your passport." So he shows him the passport, and his name wasn't Fredrik in the passport. It was Peter Ola Hammerstedt of Sweden, proving once again that a lot of these Sea Shepherd types are from Northern Europe and North America, children of rich families who can afford to send them on their way to harass cultures. People who have never held a decent job a day in their lives. People who pay Captain Kangaroo $2,000 for the privilege of sailing on those rust buckets, garbage scows. Well, anyway, so now he leaves the island. And what basically is happening here is we have Captain Kangaroo sitting back, praising himself and stuffing himself, and he tells his minions, you do this, you do that, and you do this. And such as Peter Butune. You go on the Japanese ship, you hand them a summons or a warrant or whatever, and they'll take you back to Japan and put you on trial. And Peter, you go to the Faroe Islands, Mr. Cabin Boy, and if they tear you limb from limb, it's another it's another publicity opportunity for us. So what's basically happening here is you minions around the world, you emotional Sea Shepherd types who don't have a rational thought in your body that donate to this organization, this is what you're paying for. What's interesting is that the Danish equivalent to the FBI or the CIA, they notified the people of the Faroe Islands that Sea Shepherd was going to attempt something this summer. So they are well aware of what Sea Shepherd is up to. I think that's wonderful. Maybe that's why the people of the island were already looking out for him to come incognito, because they had this advance warning. So I would have to say among the Sea Shepherd crew and the girly men on there, one of you is not a girly man. No, you got an informer in your midst. Have you noticed the pattern here? That if your name is Peter and you're part of the girly man crew of Sea Shepherd, the good Captain Watson seems to send you on suicide missions. Peter Platoon to Tokyo, Peter Hammerstedt to the Faroe Islands. Now let me tell the rest of you, girly men of the crew, if he starts to hand you a belt that looks like this, I suggest you get your $2,000 back and hightail it out of there. If you want to know who that informer is, just place a bounty on Captain Kangaroo's head and watch how fast that informer comes to the forefront. Enough fun and jocularity for now. We'll see you. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless the nation you happen to be in. See ya.
We are springing to the far for 300